Well, I'll tell you, a soggy donut's better than no donut at all, Joe. That's my new expression. I'm gonna tweet it, I think. I'm here with Reverend Jason McGuire, New Yorker's Family Research Foundation. It's the Mayday for Marriage RV Tour, making its stop here in Orange County.
We believe that marriage between a man and a woman matters. It's a moral decision first. It only became politics.
And marriage between a man and woman is not traditional. It's the way it's always been. It's not old-fashioned. It's God-fashioned.
In fact, we call it authentic marriage. It's the real deal. It's not the counterfeit. It's not a mimic. It's the real deal. It's how God created things to be. Government did not create marriage. God did. Government has no right to redefine marriage because God has already set the definition.
Mayday for Marriage. Why this? Why the RV tour? Why now?
Well, we realize that, we're living in a time and in a culture in which I think people are sometimes afraid to speak up their values. And we just felt we needed to go out there in a bold way and say, you know what, this vote is coming up very shortly. And if we are silent for any longer, it's going to happen. And so we have got to stand up and say, you know what, we believe that marriage matters.
Thanks, Joe. We'll check back with you in the next hour live from Montgomery at Goodwill Church. Mayday for Marriage on The Sound of Life.
Well, listen, I have the Reverend Jason McGuire, who is the president of New Yorker's Family Research Foundation, with us. And it's great, and welcome into the studios, right here in the studios. I love it. Of Cup of Joe Morning Show. I guess that's one of your biggest battles. You've got some people who are Christians who are basically thinking, okay, we've got to act right. We've got to be Republican, act red, right wing, that kind of thing. That's what we do. And then you got the other side. People who are Christians who are like, well, we shouldn't get involved in any of this. It's political. You're making it political. We're in the church, like that.
Right. And I'll tell you that it's not just a Republican or a Democrat issue. It's really nonpartisan. When we look at issues like life and marriage, we ought to have people on both sides of the aisle saying we will defend the sanctity of human life and the sacredness of marriage. There are lots of other issues. We can split along partisan lines, and if this party wants to vote that way or that party votes that way. But the bottom line is, it shouldn't be more basic than life and marriage. I look back to our vote in 2009 during the same-sex marriage battle, and we were thrilled to have defeated same-sex marriage 38-24. And one of the biggest accomplishments for us was it was a bipartisan vote. It was 8 Democrats that joined 30 Republicans. That's almost unheard of today in votes in the legislature, and it demonstrates that these are nonpartisan issues.
And thank you very much for what you do. Appreciate it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity today.
You're welcome.
Reverend, thank you very much for being here. You have brought your vehicle. Would you just explain, this is a tour, obviously, would you just explain a little bit more about it?
Well, you're looking at the Mayday for Marriage RV, and we've been traveling the state now, and we're going around district to district, local communities all around New York, just reminding people that marriage between a man and a woman matters. This morning we were actually down in the Newburgh area, and we worked with a radio station there, and so we broadcast live for about 3 hours this morning, and I just had coffee and donuts. People stopped by, we started the conversation, and I then broadcast over the air as what was going on.
Do you think that it actually should come to the floor then? I mean, I understand that there are, at this point the governor even says, I don't want to see it again go to the floor and have it die, because it actually put the brakes on this effort from 2009. We're just now trying to get to a point where we actually might see it again. Right. Do you believe that it should come up?
I don't think it should come to the floor of the legislature, simply because I don't think the legislature has the authority over this. Government didn't create marriage, and it doesn't have the authority to redefine marriage.
But it sanctions marriage. Government sanctions marriage.
But it doesn't have the authority over redefining marriage, and there's a vast difference between the two. Government didn't create it. They don't have the right to redefine it. So I don't think it should come to the floor.
Wait, hold on. Government actually defines marriage currently as between a man and a woman. Isn't that the decision that actually was upheld in the courts of New York?
Government is recognizing the definition of family that has always stood through recorded history. This would be a redefinition. That's why we say it's not an expansion of rights. It's really a redefinition of an institution. So I don't think the legislature has the authority, but if they intend on doing something, let the people decide. Every time the people have voted on this issue, they have denied same-sex marriage, and they have upheld the traditional definition of marriage.
This tour, just in closing, I mean, did you do this specifically to counter the governor going around the state for the People First tour? Because, of course, his top 3 priorities include the legalization of gay marriage. Is that what this is all about?
We did not. I'd love to take credit for it. We did not specifically do this. This was in the works ahead of time, but sometimes God has a way of working in mysterious ways.